Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Peter Reziak. I'm a loan officer with Cherry Creek Mortgage in the Woodlands. And today I wanted to talk to Pam Hughes with Better Homes and Gardens and basically go over what she's seeing in the market, what's going on in this crazy market we see right now. And just kind of pick your brain, from someone who's so experienced. Thank you, Pam, for taking the time today and sitting with us and recording this video.
Okay, I've been doing this for roughly 35 years, which is longer than most other people in the business have even been around, but a little experience. I started when things were going to pot in the energy business in 1985, 85, 86. And the problem we had then was way too much inventory. The problem we have now is not enough inventory.
Right.
And it stretches across all price ranges. And the difficulty of finding houses, in those days, it was difficulty of finding buyers, but now it's the houses, the properties that people want.
Mm-hmm.
In the Houston market right now, give you an idea of the amount of inventory, in closed year to date, say in the 200 to 250 price range, there is just 1 month of inventory. The change from 2020, this period, this last month, in 2020, we are up 15% in sales this year over 2020. And like I said, 1 month of inventory. So if we stopped listing today, 1 month, everything in that price range would be sold.
Right.
The probably even more scary one is people that are thinking they can buy a home for under 200,000. It's almost impossible. That's less than 1% of inventory. The sales are down over this time last year because there's nothing out there to sell. Moving up the 300 to 400 price range, that's a change from last year to this year. 36% of sales are up 36% from last year. There's about a 1.8 month inventory. Your 400 to 500 sales are up 43% year over year. In that price range, and there's about 2 month inventory of those. And where do we go? Multiple offers are very common and difficult. It's very difficult to advise a buyer, particularly a first-time buyer. Hey, you need to come in above list price, and how far above list price do you come? The sales comparables don't seem to mean much anymore. We can show people, well, this house is similar to this, sold for X price per square foot, for example, 2 months ago, but it's totally irrelevant to what it will sell for now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get multiple offers, and the difficulty there is choosing which one to take. And it takes degree of professionalism and experience in the listing agent to advise the seller which one is the best offer to take. I presented one not long ago. There were 8 offers on the property. We came in at full price cash and above what I thought it should have been. We lost the house. And that was just recently. And to have told this elderly couple who are buying their basically retirement home, little one story, to offer above list was very difficult for them to understand and conceive.
Right.
So, then the integrity of the listing agent, I think, is very, very important. And your relationship, I always prided myself on keeping a good relationship with other agents because they know I'll do my job. Right. And make sure that you're very truthful in everything you present, and have all your ducks in a row. Pre-approval letter, proof of funds, where the money's coming from, all of that has to be presented. And one of the things I've started doing is to make sure that those sellers receive all offers is presenting evidence of presentation, so that the seller has to sign that evidence of presentation that we know that offer was presented to the seller with all the terms.
Okay.
So not easy.
Not easy. And just like you're saying, it's a completely different market right now. And with the comps, we have buyers coming in from New York and California, and you really have cash buyers coming in 10% above listing price. Yes. Right. I mean, is that something that you're seeing as well?
Absolutely. And then the issue is, if they're getting financing, the comps are not there for the appraisers to use. So that's the challenge too for a listing agent, is to know the comps, know exactly everything about them. Like this morning, I previewed 2 houses because I want to see what they're like before they go under contract, so that I can comment on them when I'm advising appraisers when I have another listing that sells. It's very important to know your market, to know the homes, and be able to advise the appraisers, because they have to count on us. Some of them are well, smart enough to count on agents to know the property because they haven't been there.
Right.
They need to be open to agents that know the properties to make the comments and tell them why the house is selling for what it is. Another thing too, in meeting with appraisers when something I know is selling above what it probably should sell for, is to meet with that appraiser and meet with them personally and show them. And the fact that there were 8 offers, I frequently will take the first page of those 8 offers and show that to the appraiser, hand them to the appraiser and say, here,
Right.
this is the other 7 offers that were received. And that's just part of the market.
Absolutely. And what we're seeing too, Pam, is, whenever I'm talking to clients, for example, and, you need to have a conversation, you need to talk to the lender, whether it's me or another lender you're working with, is know your options. And when you have professionals like you as well, it's about the communication. And if a buyer is going to put themselves in a position where they do go above listing price, we know that it won't hit the appraisal. So what happens in that case, from our standpoint on the financing side, is that, if it's someone who's purchasing a home, they're a first-time home buyer, they're putting minimum down, this might not be an option. It might not be a good house. And it's they don't have any wiggle room to do this. But for those that are, putting 20% down, what I advise them is I tell them, don't do 20% down. You need to put 10% down, because if you're going above listing price, your numbers won't change as much actually, but do 10% down on the loan and then keep the extra 10% on the back. Because when the appraisal comes in low and it's low, $10,000-$20,000, you have that extra money to bring to the closing table, and you can still proceed with the purchase.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's very good. Very good advice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not in a case where it automatically kills the deal. As long as the buyer, it's one of the 4 things that happens when the appraiser comes in low, is that if they have the funds and they love the house so much, they can bring the difference to the closing table. So it doesn't, 10% down, PMI is not that bad, might even help the interest rate, but that 10%, whatever price range they're in, you need to have the extra funds and know that, hey, I'm paying a little bit above what I would normally get. But that's because of the demand and the supply we see right now too.
Right.
Rates are still super low. Everyone wants to buy a house, but there's not enough houses out there.
No, there's plenty of money, but no houses.
No houses. Yeah.
Right.
So where do you think the market is going? Do you think this trend is, in the next couple months, in the next year, what do you think the market is going?
Well, Peter, I don't see it slowing down. I think the demand is still there. There's such a pent up demand. I've got people that are moving from smaller houses close in, moving out to the suburbs. We can bring the kids out here where there's better lifestyle for them. And it is very, very difficult. I don't see that slowing down. Likewise, we have people, those kids are leaving home and those people want to move inside the loop. We need more people to move inside the loop so we can get more out here.
Right.
But yeah. I don't see any indication of it slowing down in the immediate future. Of course, if interest rates click up, then that's probably will slow it down some. But the demand is still there for people to find a home, and they'll pay a little more interest, I think.
Right.
Heck, back in the mid 80s, we were struggling with paying 16, 17, 18%. And I tell that to agents today, and they say, "What? How did you buy a house for 18%?"
Exactly. Right.
But it's different world, different market.
Right. And even pre-COVID, rates were going into the 4s. We thought 2020 we'll see rates in the 5s, but then COVID happened and rates dropped and went up, then dropped again. We were under 3, 2s, and now we're, the rates are back up, low 3s. Yeah. Everybody thinks that, all rates are going up, and it puts more pressure. Like, I need to buy now. And, when I talk to clients, and especially first-time home buyers, I try to advise them, like, be ready for many offers, multiple different properties before you actually get the house. Don't get discouraged. It's kind of rough out there. It's kind of rough right now.
It takes a lot of effort to be on top of things and making sure you know what comes when it hits the market. You've got it there. The beauty of it is people tend to search today. Frequently, clients will find a house before I'll find it. I'm trying to find them one, and they'll call me and say, "Did you find this one?" And it's kind of a contest to see who finds it first, them or
Right,
me.
right,
But it's important to be on top of it, of the market, and make sure you catch everything that comes on the market.
right. And Pam, a question: when you have clients and you're the listing agent and you have sellers, what are they looking for? Like how does a buyer's agent come across? And what do they do differently than just submit an offer where it's basically just a piece of paper, and there's 10 of them. What can they do that really works that you're seeing?
Well, supporting, particularly, it's kind of sad if they have to sell a house in order to buy one, so it's contingent on the sale of the other house.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens and that's the only choice they have, then all the documentation. I want to talk to the agent who's selling their house, and I want to talk to the loan officer for that agent, that buyer, as well as the loan officer they're working with. It's again knowing all the details and seeing that there's good communication. It's when I'm talking to a buyer's agent, I want to know that loan officer's name, contact information, and know that they are going to be contacting me. I don't want to have to be the one that calls the loan officer to say, "Hey, what's happening?" I want to get that report every few days, everything that happens, to let me know what's going on. But
Right.
in terms of who's got an advantage, it's real hard. But if you have to sell one house before you can buy another, it's very difficult. So I'm sort of advising people to make sure that house is solidly under contract before they even start looking, because you look at
Mm-hmm.
something today, it's not going to be there next week, very likely.
Right.
Uh,
And do you see your clients always going for the highest offer? If is that something that I don't know, 1 out of 10 clients? I mean, how many of them would you say would go for the highest numbers?
Not necessarily. It's the better qualified buyer. Somebody can come in at 10% over list price, asking price, but they might not necessarily be the strongest buyer. The fact that number on the contract is not everything. It's all the details behind the scenes that we need to know about. Credit, or obviously credit's done before they have their loan is approved or pre-approved. One of the things we see and we do is letters from the people that are making the offer. There's some little family history, family story,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the people and the children and whatever else is in their lives and why they
Mm-hmm.
love this house. But it tells me that they've gone in and they've thoroughly looked at the house. They know exactly what they're buying. And then, of course, we've got that ugly option period where people can terminate for any reason. And that's one of the things I'm seeing that really ticks me off is during the option period, the buyers will continue to look. And they have 9 days or 7 days or 9 days or whatever the contract says, 10 days. They'll continue to look, and they might find something they like better and come back and terminate. And that hurts.
Oh yeah,
When you find one, stick with it and see it through.
absolutely. And when you say qualified buyers, and so what exactly are you looking for? You mentioned the loan officer. So obviously, if you would get a call from the loan officer with the submission initially, right, that would help, I would think, right?
Absolutely. I won't present an offer without a letter from a good loan officer. Can we
Right.
control that? No, as a listing agent, you can't control that. But I'm a fan of using someone that's local that I can pick up the phone if I need to and reach somebody. I'm not going to reach just a processor or something else. So I need a loan officer that I can talk to if I get suspicious or have concerns about what's going on.
Right. And getting offers from online lenders or big banks, I mean, how do you see those?
Not my favorite. But I mean, some of them are good, but the follow-up is usually the problem. They have a set, we'll just send you this, 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 and this, but it's not as consistent as having somebody that I can pick up the phone and call, or I know that's going to pick up the phone and call me, or
Right.
report to me regularly.
Mm-hmm. Well, because if they're in a different state or it's a big bank, it's just a completely different setup. Local lenders, It's all about the relationships, right? It's about the
Exactly.
relationships with the referral partners and your name, you know, it's basically everything you do from start to finish.
Right, and some of the out-of-state lenders will say, "Oh yes, we know the Houston rules and Texas rules and regulations," and they really don't. They have to go search for that, and that's what takes time.
And usually with those guys, they'll have you know, when it comes to the appraiser and the appraisals that you know, the appraiser that they use, they have national agreements, right? So those
Yes,
appraisers are not actually local either.
yeah, that's a tough one too.
Yeah. Great. And so with the letters from families, so if it's a first-time home buyer and they send you a letter explaining their story, does that come across? I mean, is that seen as a good thing to do? And
Yeah, it's nice. It's not the end all, but it's nice for the sellers to see who's going to be making their family's home in the home that they've had for 10, 20 years.
right. Okay. And is there anything else that you might you know, any other tip you might be able to give to any buyers, you know, submitting an offer on a house?
I mean, being with an agent that knows the areas is very important. It's anybody can study an area and get a little brief idea of what's going on and what has gone on, but to have an agent that's been out there in the market for, I mean, newer agents, yes, they can pick it up, but they need to be working at knowing the market and knowing the history, and to have give the buyers better advice. It's so important that they're fully informed of what's going on in the market, in the neighborhoods they choose or whatever.
Right. Oh, great information. I'm just thinking, what else can we add?
I don't know.
Is there just one more thing we can add, you know, for someone? What if somebody is coming, how do you advise someone who's coming out of state and they really don't know what to expect and what the market is over here? What would you tell them?
Well, research online before they get here. That's the beauty of I'm an old fan of the old-fashioned marketing, but there's so much to be learned by studying neighborhoods, and some people are looking for the schools. Check out the schools, do all of that online before they get here, and that way, back in the old days, people would come into town, and I'd have them for a week, and I'd show them probably 50, 60 homes. It was nothing unusual.
Right.
But now they come into town and they've already researched the neighborhoods. And my job then is to try to figure out why they should or shouldn't lean toward that neighborhood or whatever. But so they come to me and say, okay, we've narrowed it down to these 10 or 20, and then I can get more detail for them on those 10 or 20 homes that they want to look at. Right. People don't want to spend the time there, but they don't have the inventory to look at either. So but it's being informed before they come to town, I think, is very important. If they work with somebody, they find out from people at work where they live, what they like about that neighborhood, and they can get a lot of feedback from their fellow workers if they're people relocating here with their jobs.
Right. No, that's really good information. And Pam, just want to say thank you so much for taking the time today. I really appreciate it. I think there's a lot of good value and content, good tips. And if somebody wants to reach you, how does somebody go about reaching out to you?
Well, email is pamkangaroo@sbcglobal.net, and cell phone is 713-725-1213. Very easy to reach.
Thank you, Pam. Awesome. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Peter. Take care.